What's up, guys? It's Essential. I'm back. We're going to be talking about how to play Turbo in the H-Pals position. I just want to start with talents here. It's pretty much the same thing every single game. You're going to be playing this no matter what. You can try playing Unbreakable Spirit some games. If it's like a small map, you might get swapped to. It might be a long game, and you might need the second charge of bubble. Otherwise, play this every game. You are going to be swapping out your ultimate sacrifice versus some hunter teams for either Darkest Before Dawn or spreading the word. I've been trying spreading the word as much as I can against these comps, and it seems to do pretty well. Though the throughput from Darkest Before Dawn is pretty valuable as well. So try both of them and see what you like more. I like spreading the word more, but I think Darkest Before Dawn is just the better choice. And let's get into the enhanced turbo or the let's get into the turbo games. All right, to start off, we're going to be playing against RMP, and we're playing around 1900 CR. We ended up pushing 2100 in this Q sesh. I'm playing with two good friends of mine that I help get glad every season, and we're still like getting the rhythm for the comp, but pretty much what you want to focus on this comp is surviving every single go. You will either win on one, dampening, or two, a random one shot when the enemy team is just out of cooldowns, because if you play properly and you play well defensively, you're just going to live forever and win on dampening if you stop the enemy healer's drink very often. And sometimes versus many comps as well, it's not going to matter if the healer gets like a small bit of drink, like they get like, I don't know, 10 to 20% mana back. You're still just going to win on cooldowns and defensives alone. So when you're playing against RMP here, you mainly want to target the mage and make sure you can land spears on him. Mages can get out a spear if they're really good and they're Night Fae, but a lot of the times if you can get them, if you can land a full spear on them, it's great. If you can hit the rogue on them, it's great. And you just want to look for kicks on poly, and a lot of times as well with this comp, you're going to be able to win out on a game if you get like a nice kick on like a flash heal, or just in against any comps, if you can kick the healer while you're trying to kill a kill target, you're going to end up winning the game as well. Some things to focus on for the shaman is versus other comps, if you can land a lot of game-winning hexes right off the bat. As a paladin, you want to consider this and think about when you want to aura mastery for your team. Typically versus RMP, I'm always going to try to aura mastery into flesh so that I can get combat and avoid being sapped. And versus RMP, I think you pretty much want to keep your beacons on the DPS. If they end up double crossing the warrior and enhance and going you are more than likely gonna have to either bop or bubble. Versus sub rogues, like I've said before, you want to save your trinket for shadowy duel just in case they're the one-shot spec, and you want to be able to save your team during smoke bomb. So let's get right into the video right out of the gates. Let me mute this. Right out of the gates, we're going to be trying to get combat, and we find the mage aura mastery flesh here. We get a stormbolt into spear. My shaman isn't there yet though, so I'm not sure we wanted to commit this, as well as the warrior is now completely out of position to be able to intervene. He's got no leap. He charges. My shaman is okay. He just lives because they do a kidney shot go. I dispel the mind games in a moment here. And you want to just make sure you can help your team get out of CC. Like, you need to be aware of when you're saving freedom and whether or not you should dispel poly or mind games. And more often than not, if they're going your shaman, you always want to dispel mind games, even if your warrior is sitting a full polymorph. So here I get blinded, but I see that they haven't committed like combustion because they already did, or shadow blades, so I'm just gonna sit the entirety of the blind. My warrior is about to get CC'd, but he has like intervene coming out of it, so he ends up getting polymorphed. I end up getting sapped. So because they got a super good CC chain and cross, I'm gonna trinket bop and just keep going. I top my team. Now that I'm kind of near the healer, I tried to bait out fade there. I saw that the healer had used a global so that he can't greater fade, so I go for the Hodge right here and hopefully make the Ray negative. And now I'm trying to blind the healer so that the Ray hopefully can still be negative. We land a great full spear on the mage again. And I see that my warrior had trinketed, so I'm kind of worried. If he does get shadowy dueled here, he trades out parry, but they don't have like shadow blades, and it's not like he's the one-shot spec. My warrior is hitting the rogue for a moment. If you can't connect to the mage or just like the caster in general, you always want to be able to uh, just hit the next closest target. I get a large sack here, gonna dispel the mind games, and we just keep surviving and keep pumping this mage. You're inevitably gonna win on mana more often than not, as long as you can just survive versus these RMP teams and trade your cooldowns effectively. You're gonna end up winning. We got a nice disarm on the rogue here. I freed on my shaman, I freed on my warrior. I want them to have uptime, and I don't get the dispel off on my warrior. Looks like they're gonna be going my warrior. They had missed the fear on me, it seems. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but they land a full poly. And it breaks to something. Okay, this is going to happen a lot versus, like, RMPs below, I don't know, 2100 and stuff. They're not going to have, like, really clean, perfect setups. And more often than not, you're going to have the opportunity to, like, pre-sack or pre-bop or pre-fleshcraft. So now that we're next to the healer, we're sending our CCs and just trying to keep pumping the mage. I bait a kick there. Got a hex on the mage, though it doesn't matter. Broke it instantly. I bopped myself. Let me go back. What did I bop myself out of here? I'm worried right here because if they go me, I don't have a whole lot, but my warrior has trinket and soon, but he doesn't have any really defensives. They don't have combustion. He's just got Aegis. Same with my shaman. Looks like they cheap shot me, and I wanted to pre something here. I'm not quite sure. I think bopping myself there was actually really bad, but I end up stacking. I'm pretty sure we're winning the game very soon because the mage doesn't have ice block. So just kind of running, you want to really play on top of your team with this, but you also want to not get triple dragon's breathed as well at the same time. So you kind of have to space properly with that. Yeah, like if I had a bop right here, we'd be very good. They're going me. I'm not walling because I must be really bad, but I think I know that they don't have a damage cooldowns going into this, so I'm just saying like I'm fine. RMP without damage cooldowns and like the priest not pumping, not pressing mind games is really not even a threat. You can sit like a full CC chain, especially if you like if you pre-charge a Vanquisher's Hammer charge, you can just come out and Word of Glory and top yourself afterwards. I go for the Hodge here, little questionable. I know my shaman has Chain Harvest up, so I'm telling him that he can top the warrior when he gets it. He used it there. Gonna go for a full blind on the priest. He trinkets. And the healer's just about out of mana. My entire team has trinket back. It looks like I'm the only one that could die, so I have my beacon on myself ahead of time, just in case they swap to me. I'm always telling my team when I am on forbearance or if I don't have bubble or trinket. And I tell them right now, I tell my warrior literally right here, come intervene me. Perfect. I get to sit this, I dispel the mind games, and I'm going to be able to top myself out of this with my Vanquisher's hammer charges. Still going for some healing. The CC on my warrior breaks, and the healer is out of mana, so we're going to end up taking down the mage here. Got a shattering throw off. Still want to make sure your team is topped. You don't want to lose focus tunneling too much as well. I get a perfect fleshcraft on the kidney there, which was kind of neat. And we pretty much just whittled them down and rotated cooldowns. It's going to be tougher versus higher rated RMP teams because they're going to be able to triple cross you. They're going to be able to get mind games off on your shaman. But if you can do stuff like pre-blade storm, pre-fleshcraft, pre-disarm, pre-grounding, pre-kick a pre-kick a polymorph, if you can slow the enemy priest from the shaman position so that it doesn't get to your healer, you're gonna be you're gonna be okay. More often than not, you want to pretty much play Aegis into almost every comp except for like jungle, in which case Battle Masters is the best option. But if you don't have that, you can just play Resonator. So that's gonna be versus RMP. All right, next up, we're going to have a common matchup. We got Mage Lock here, and I'm going to give you guys the strategy to beat this every single game as long as you play well defensively. From the HPAL, or for overall, you want to be targeting the Frost Mage the entire game. When you come out of the gates, you want to like fake open. You don't want to commit any of your offensive abilities from your DPS because you want to wait for the Mage to pop his Necro buttons. You want to wait for the Demon Soul as well from the Lock or Dark Soul. And then just run to a pillar and line of sight the mage, work on kicking the warlock. You want to rotate through like grounding totem. You want to trade out your Aegises and try to save as many cooldowns as you can, but definitely commit your Aegises, especially if you get low. And from the HPAL's position, you want to save freedoms for your shaman, and you want to have your warrior save his heroic leap so that he can get out as well. And you yourself just want to be at a pillar for the majority of the game. And you try to win on mana, really only go for Hodges and blinds to either peel during the Mage Lock's cooldowns. Like, say the Lock is out of line of sight of the healer and he's playing the Resolve trinket, you can just Hodge the Lock behind the pillar during Dark Soul so that you don't take damage from him for like, 6 seconds and you can keep surviving. Otherwise, if you end up near the priest, it's getting later into the game, he's got no trinket, great. And if you land spears on the mage consistently, line of sight during their cooldowns, you're gonna end up winning the game. So let's get right into it here. Let me speed up a bit. So we run in, here's an important thing. I called for my team to play at this right-hand side pillar because the Warlock has the gate towards the other side. So they cannot gate to chase us when they're pressing their cooldowns, and it ended up being so good for my team, okay? Also, Warlocks, or anybody can use the Warlock gate to get out of Kyrian Spear as well. Also, by the way, for this comp, your warrior wants to be Kyrian Spear no matter what, every single time. There's 2 Shaman builds as well. There's like a flame, or 2 or 3, but 2 that I can remember right now is like a standard Ascendance build or something like that. There's like a Lava Lash, I don't know, build. And then there's like a Flame Shock build. You can try them out. We're having a lot of success with not the Flame Shock build. But regardless, I tell my team to come play at this pillar and then fake open, get their cooldowns, and run back. So I'm crossing here. I jump down so that they can't like build any damage off of me. I'm telling my warrior to build up rage off of the pet here. And now we're kind of just hanging out, waiting. I don't really know what this thing does. If you run out of it, you take damage. So I don't know. Try not to pop it on your team. That's like a warlock ability. Everybody is playing Resolve here except for the Holy Priest. And now I'm telling my team to go fake open on the mage. I'm getting ready to peel. My buddy had used his trinket. Looks like he's pumping. They're absolutely blasting. The mage just took Warlock Gate there. So now my warrior is going to Kyrian Spear. And I'm right next to the priest because I'm following them. We end up getting a shatter on the block. And we are just absolutely pumping. So Dark Soul is out. My warrior's a little scared. I have a freedom for him. I'm just saving my freedoms the whole game. And I think now we're just going to be line of sighting. I'm not sure the mage had pressed his CDs yet. If he did, then he just got absolutely clobbered on them. And I think he's going to throw up an ice wall here, or it might be later into the game. And we're just going to be pumping. We're pretty safe. We have grounding totem. My team traded out Aegises during the go. I'm going to look for CC. It ends up getting a greater faded. That's okay. Try to be better than me and don't get your CC greater faded. It can really come down to the wire in some of these matchups. But this one especially, once you get some reps against it and killing the mage, this is you'll be fine. This is Deathborn and Icy Veins. So my team is trading out Parry. I proc to Wings because I'm very skilled at the game, clearly. and I'm just telling my team every time I have a Vanquisher's Hammer charge, like, I have 2 huge heals for you, like, here's one, here's another, just so that my team can always have a feeling of how safe they are as well. My shaman and our team decide to run. I trinket there. I'm a little worried. I get a little low. I traded out Aegis as well. I'm not swapping Beacon to myself. I end up getting kicked here, and I might have to bubble. This is very, very close, but I end up line of sighting just fine. I should have swapped my beacon to myself a moment earlier, and I would have had my save by the light proc, so it wasn't as close as 6% health. And the mage line of sights his healer incredibly well for our team, and we end up getting a second block there. And now we're still line of sighting, and we get a double spear here. The warlock is off the gate because we're not playing on the pillar where his gate is. So we just used the spear there. It might have been better on mage. I don't really know. We just want to get it on cooldown. That's fine. We've got Aegis is back, and we're pretty much just whittling out this team. My team's going in now. I learned from my previous mistake, so I tried to bait out the Greater Fade there. He must not have it. You can see he procced an Icy Veins, or a Deathborn, rather, because of his tier set. So you don't have to worry too much about that. I get a kick here. I believe I'm telling my shaman to look for kick on healer. I'm always reminding my team, like, look for a kick here, or, etc. Because I have a good feeling of, like, game awareness and what's gonna how we can win games, etc. So a lot of the times, I'm shot calling, like, for my teams, or just reminding them of cooldowns, and being able to do things like this is really gonna help you win games and set you apart from other holy paladins. Once you get a lot of experience, a lot of reps, a lot of games versus comps, and you know how much damage is going to be coming out, you should be able to call your teammates' defensives early on if they're having a hard time or versus certain comps. But it can be very hard, and at a higher level, you're expected at a certain point to know when to pop your own cooldowns as a DPS, but also as a healer. So this is a beautiful cross here from my team. I just want to rewind this because it is just so perfectly well done. So what's going to happen here is I believe my warrior is going to run out and fear the warlock and the holy priest at the same time. The mage is out of line of sight. He bolts him trinkets. I get a full hodge on the trinket. My warrior spears the mage down here, and I war stomp him with cooldowns, and he gets absolutely blasted. And we end up taking out that game. Didn't even have to go to dampening. We just whittled down the mage, and he kind of played for our team on some of those goes very well, line of sighting his own healer, and we played away from the lock gate as much as we could. And it's so important for your warrior to save spear for after, like, Greater Fade, for after warlock gate. If the DPS is sitting on the warlock gate, you do not want to use spear. It is like your best cooldown as for your team, rather, to guarantee you're going to be getting damage out. And we're just going to close out this game here in a minute. I don't know why they're playing it out, and that's pretty much what you want to do versus Mage Lock. So train the mage, line of sight on their cooldowns, and don't spear onto gate. Make sure you hold freedoms for your DPS so that they can get out when they start popping their CDs, and you'll start farming every Mage Lock on the ladder. All right, so we're going to be playing against TSG here. This is typically a really hard matchup, like a lot of DK DHs and DK warriors we have struggled with. I'm thinking about not playing Ultimate Sacrifice and seeing if I can get value of the spreading the word talent here, because it's going to reduce the physical damage taken by my team by 30%, as well as freedom everybody that is within the range of my aura, that is 40 yards. So I'll be, with one freedom, I'll be able to remove all roots on my team, as well as, like, the bop is going to give the other DPS and myself a 30% physical damage wall, which can be really strong versus the warrior cooldowns. And going into this matchup, you want to pretty much trade almost all. If you have to, you're more likely than not going to have to trade all of your defensives during their big opener, which is grabby hands and the arms warriors like Avatar or something. If it's Fury, it's it's called something else, but their opener is going to be their hardest, strongest go, and more often than not, like where you're going to lose if you're not trading your defensives properly. And I think we struggled with this beforehand, so I am going to try the spreading the word talent. If you play the massive sack and they just keep pumping into it, you're going to be really scared. It'll probably pump you through your Aegis. And if they grip you or stun you, you're going to have to trade out bubble regardless, honestly. So just want to talk about how we end up rotating here. I already told my DPS to pop Aegis immediately on the grabby hands. They're both coming in. I'm out of range of a kick, so I'm just going to free cast my Fleshcraft here so that I can save Aura Mastery and tell my Shaman when he can get a Hex because of it. Very, very good. We started coordinating this, and this Shaman won us so many games throughout our session just by landing incredible hexes like with my Aura Mastery. He was juking kicks with Dora Shadows or in capping the healer on his Dora Shadows into a hex. The guy popped the heck off. So War Banner's down. I see they pop grabby hands. They're popping cooldowns. So I bopped my warrior to get the spreading the words buff up. You can see right here, I have it. I'm not hovering over it, obviously, because I have to heal. But I generated Holy Power, got my Vanquisher's Hammer charges. My Enhanced Shaman is full Mortal Strike with Colossus Smash, so he is going to be taking a absolute ton of damage. He's still got Wall and Aegis, so right now would be phenomenal times to press this for my team. He presses Aegis here. I'm trying to sit this. I end up small sacking, and my Shaman presses Chain Harvest once the Mortal Strike drops on him, so he doesn't get the reduced healing from it. And the War Banner stayed up the whole game. Pretty bad from my team. You want to tell your team or yourself to kill that every time. The more consistent you can be with like killing cap totems against mirrors and war banners, etc., the better off you're going to be. Thankfully, it looks like the priest is out of range of the banner. So while my warrior is near him, he's going to get a full fear off, and he's not playing undead, so he's not able to will it. My shaman is still in some trouble here. It looks like I'm one holy power away from big healing him. I'm calling this. He's got wall up. So I'm just going to keep generating holy power. I think I go for a Hodge here, and I potentially Aura Mastery and tell him to Hex. We're going to see if he ends up going for it here. Looks like he's not. Yes, he does, and he lands the full Hex here. My warrior has no buttons left. I get the bop off on the Mortal Strike there, which is really strong. Their arms warrior is not playing Kyrian Spear, so you kind of just want to use bop on like asphyxiate, or if you know that if your teammates are sharpened with like a big mortal strike, you're kind of worried. And just kind of PvE healing, trying to avoid being kicked or swapped to. I'm really scared for my team right now. My warrior has no defensives. I'm pretty sure I called for him to just straight up keep running because we have no cooldowns. So I'm telling my warrior, like, run with me, use spear and run. Like, we have nothing left in the tank. I have no bops, no sacks, and no bubble. So, and this warrior still has 10 seconds left of his avatar. If you just are sitting in there and tanking that damage, you're just going to lose. So, when you and your team have nothing left, you need to call out or have the awareness to just straight up run in line of sight in hopes that you can make it to when you have your defensives back. So that's what we do here. We're still getting some pressure out, and I'm just casting, trying to top my team. I've got like nothing left. As you can see here, I have no holy power. I'm just keeping up freedom on my warrior. I'm telling them to off heal. My shaman has got chain harvest back, thankfully. Uses it right there, maybe before the mortal strike. And I get silenced right here. They don't have much damage anymore because we were actually able to kite the avatar very well. We get the warrior very low. My warrior instantly charge fears the priest on his trinket on Hodge, and my shaman is already fake casting a hex on the healer, and we got a stormbolt, and we're just closing out the game. Incredibly well played from my team once we had ran out of defensives and we just kept kiting around the pillar. Incredible play from my DPS at the end there, using Chain Harvest to off heal a lot very well. I think in the opener we could have popped like Aegis a bit earlier. But man, my shaman fake casting the hex, my warrior instantly charging to the priest to fear him on his trinket. Really, really, really good gameplay. We end up killing the warrior here, and in my opinion, versus this team, you want to go warrior every time because the DK is just going to be able to heal a ton, and he's got more defensives than the warrior. As well as if you're training the warrior, he's not going to be able to be in battle stance very often, so he's going to be doing like 20% less damage while he's in D stance pretty much the entire game. So, and with how much damage this team puts out, it's so good to just, you want to minimize as much damage you take as possible. So, in this matchup, you want to look to trade cooldown for cooldown. If you have no cooldowns, run away. Try to get your shamans to hex against teams that can't dispel it, and you're going to end up winning. I think the spreading the word talent was okay there. I think it felt really good for the physical damage reduction. Try it out yourself, see if you like it. Otherwise, let's get right into the next one. All right, and in this one, we're going to be playing against Cupid Cleave. Typically, in this matchup, you want to train the Hunter. I'm going to be swapping to the spreading word talent because I'm just trying to spam as many games as possible with this talent since nobody plays it. I think it's super fun, but honestly, I think Darkest Before Dawn would be the better choice here, and you do want to play small sack versus almost every single hunter team. Like if you as a paladin can pre-sack a trap every single time, you're just gonna win games. Like it's so strong. Also, you want your warrior to be playing Warbanner here, as well as maybe duel. Don't quote me on that. Although disarm is also so strong, so it's probably disarm and Warbanner always versus especially like marksmanship hunters. You want disarm. I don't think you want disarm versus BM actually. So he's just going to be playing Warbanner. Always play Warbanner versus hunters if you can. And you want to be telling your team as well, like right when you get stunned by the hunter pet or the paladin or the priest or something, you want to say like, oh, like grounding now. Like your teammates need to build up awareness so that they can help you not sit the CC. Like they can ground traps, you can warbanner a trap, you can pre-sack a trap, you can pre-bop your teammate on a trap, you can bop yourself out of a stun so that you can like pre-taunt the trap. You always want to try to pre-taunt when you can. I think I get one off on this game. But regardless, you're going to be training the hunter here. Always, always, always make sure you wait for the feign death before you throw your Kyrian Spear as well. So I Aura Master into Flesh. I see the Ret already walled instantly. So we are playing Disarm here. I don't think that's correct, though, to be honest. This is Avenging Wrath, so we trade out Aegis. You always want to Aegis with Avenging Wrath as well. I small sack here because I knew I was going to get CC'd off into a trap. Instantly, the priest tried to quarter chastise me into a fear, and then the hunter would have trapped off. Because I freaking know this, and I already pre-sacked, and now I can't be CC'd forever. I think I'm going to press wings here or just natty heal this. We already went through Aegis. And we are just pumping. We got the priest's trinket as well, so we're looking really good. I want to play on top of my team so that I'm in range of Warbanner and in range of grounding. More often than not, you want to be playing on top of your team when you're playing this turbo, although you kind of have to get a feel for it. It really depends on what comp you're playing against because you don't want to like stack on top of your shaman for like a double fear from the priest or like from a warrior or something as well. So you guys all need to be pretty aware of this. I get a full hodge on the healer here out of the fear, and we're just pumping. My shaman gets a beautiful full hex onto the priest. If your shaman is looking for these hexes, he is good at the game. He's gonna win you games by doing this stuff, okay? So have them do this. Remind them, be like, hey bro, can you get a hex off of like my hodge, or just make sure to look out for it, etc., etc. So we're pumping here. We get a nice double fear and double spear, and we instantly get the turtle. I think my trap was warbannered here, I believe. Quarter stun. No, okay, so it is a full trap out of a quarter stun. Man, wow, that was unlucky. They don't have much damage rolling anymore, so I know this, and I'm just gonna sit this trap. I see that my shaman has chain harvest up, so he can like pretty much top himself out of this as well. You need to be aware of like when you can sit CC and when you can't as a healer. Always, you'll get a feel for it. It's going to take a lot of games, but so I see this, I'm able to sit this full trap. I'm pretty sure they don't have fear off or they're just not pressing it. Get a full blinding light on the priest, and the hunter pet is there as well. Really strong if you can also CC other people with blinding light. Like if you can hit the paladin or if you can hit the hunter pet too, it could prevent the roar sacrifice. He somehow still gets it off. Oh, it looks like I had blinded the wrong hunter pet. By the way, if you want to know which hunter pet for Beast Mastery is like his real one, it's the one with 120 focus, okay? Don't forget that. You're gonna lose to them in twos no matter what, even if you kill the pet. It sucks. Just don't Q2s. It's not fun. Especially as Paladin into like BM Hunters. Regardless, we get out Bop on the Hunter here. I think I dispelled Mind Games right there. I got my Vanquisher's Hammer charges. We got Holy Power. We're pumping. We're chilling. We don't have much CC for the healer, but we could win out on a kick. I know that they have trap up for me here, so I tried to pre-bop, and I didn't get to cover it with like very much. My shaman used grounding there in hopes to get the Hodge. They end up killing it beforehand. That's okay. I just trade out trinket so that now that I'm on stun DR, they would have to like restun me into a trap, and that doesn't give them much time to react appropriately if they're not in comms and such. So we're just pumping. I end up getting half stunned. I think I'm screaming Warbanner. I know that I have no buttons here, and I know that my shaman has no buttons here. So because he lands the full trap, we didn't have Warbanner and we didn't have Grounding Totem. I'm just going to eat it in the half stun. I instantly trade Bubble because we have nothing left in the tank and I just have to start healing through this damage. We end up landing a spear here, but the Hunter has Feign up. Really bad if you really just don't even want to throw it, honestly. Like you would rather save it the entire game and either win or lose. If you don't want to be throwing your spear, if he has Feign Death up, make sure you're tracking it. And the Hunters, you pretty much want to play around if the Feign Death is like 15 seconds long. Every time on my Omni bar, it's set to 30, but with their legendary, it's actually 15 seconds. So the second you see him Feign Death some damage or something, you want to be throwing spear on him immediately. So we're just going to keep going here. Also, versus like these Ret and Priest comps, what you can do versus Rets is stun them and the healer at the same time. Or you can just try to get the Hodge on the to get the Sank out early so that your warrior can like full fear, or vice versa. It can be really tough to deal with Ret Paladins. But regardless, I end up getting a kick here. So I may be telling my shaman to look for a Hex or something, just trying to build up holy power. If you don't have holy shock or bestow faith, you know your team is getting pumped, you really want to look to be crusader striking, although that's pretty much a last ditch effort in a lot of games because it is like one of your highest mana costing abilities, I believe, at least maybe in terms of like generating holy power. But so that's what I do right there. So I hit the priest for some holy power. Now I'm casting. I tried to pre-taunt there, but the priest gripped his hunter away before he got the trap off. I'm just going for a stun. I bought myself out of their pet stun, and then I get half hodged, and we could have grounded that there. Thank God the trap breaks. We would have been in a lot of trouble there. We end up grounding afterwards, and because I had hodged earlier and we baited out Sank, my warrior is able to get a full fear here, like I was saying, and we get a full hex off. Beautiful hex, and I think the hunter is gonna go down here. I have a full war stomp off. They end up getting out of it. I proc a wings. I'm able to pre-sack now, but we land a full fear because he feigned, which is beautiful, exactly what you want to do. I have a full blinding light coming out for this priest and paladin here, and because I hit that along with the pets and they have no cooldowns, we end up winning the game. So very good play from my team. I did sit a couple traps, one willingly, and another one this other team played very well in like stopping me from being able to pre a trap. They were killing groundings, they'd kill a warbanner, etc. But that's pretty much what you want to do versus Cupid, and run at hunters. For the most part, if you see a hunter, I'm pretty sure you want to kill the hunter against almost every team. All right, and for our last game this Q session, this is our game to hit 2100 for the boys. And we're queuing up against Demo Warlock and Fire Mage Holy Priest. I know it's a bit of an off meta comp, but we played this game, just turned out so freaking well for us. I just wanted to show it. We had beat them the game before. My shaman actually knows like the warlock or the mage, and he's doing a really good job of calling out like, oh, the demo is ramping up, like be careful, or the mage is like this one-shot pyro spec, so that I am just like making sure I'm kicking that. And he like really took the reins on leading our team, especially to a win the game before. This is the second time we're going to play them, and so we kind of know what they're going to go for, but we end up blasting them. So let's watch this out, or let's watch this, and let me mute that. I will get some comms playing. I've just got to split up my my Spotify and comms in my stream and when I'm recording soon. So check that out. I do want to get my comms in here, but so just building up some holy power. We're gonna just run straight into them here. My shaman pre-tremors, we reflect a hex onto the mage and we spear him immediately. He ends up like blinking and getting out of that. So here, hold on, let me backtrack this real quick. Here the priest is running at me to get a fear off. Right here he greater fades and feathers, so I am gonna press steed and try to outrange it. And I get a full hodge on the priest while we're pumping the warlock. My DPS just straight up swapped to the warlock because the mage had gone into Africa, and like trying to chase there is just not worth it. So I get a full hodge off. I see that the mage's gladiator's resolve is about to be over, so I'm waiting to hold. There's a space in between here where the priest can cast or something, and I go for the double blind and hold rather than blinding into this. So he trinkets, and I'm waiting for the resolve to pop. I'm going to trinket this and blind because I saw that the priest had just trinketed, and we have so much pressure on the warlock here. So we get the double blind here. It ends up breaking, and now I'm like, win the game, win the game, win the game. The healer's got no trinket, etc. My warrior charges to get a fear off on the priest, and we end up obliterating this warlock just in the freaking opener. And man, just the cross CC and how we were able to control that game and swapping targets, hitting duelists with the boys, just felt so good, man. Such a good game to end on. So I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been a lot of turbo. I've got some more clips coming out against other comps. If you enjoyed it and got some value out of it, feel free to subscribe. Definitely just hit me up on Twitch if you guys have other questions, etc. about Holy Paladin. Happy to answer. So peace out, guys. That's gonna be it for me. And don't forget, even though I'm essential, so are you, baby. Adios.